Well, these next couple weeks before we get into a little bit of festive projects, we're gonna go ahead and do some finish up projects. Not necessarily ones that have started at the beginning of all these video series, but kind of things that have just come along the way. So this first one is going to be, actually is the continuation of a video in the past, and it's gonna be using up the corner pieces from the Happy Stripes quilt that were created when I snowballed those corners. So in the Quilty Love pattern, she does have some secondary projects for these pieces, and so I set them aside, had the mindset to do something with them the whole time, and it just sat there and nothing happened. So I decided now's the time. We're gonna finish up this little quilt. I'm not even sure how big it's gonna be. I have to look at my pattern, but we're gonna finish it up, quilt it all up, and get it ready to go, and we're gonna donate it somewhere for the holiday season. So I know a couple people that have some great charities in town, and so depending on my size, we'll kind of determine which direction it's gonna go. So what I need to do now that I have all these corner pieces already done, these like scrappy half square triangles, is I need to trim these up to size, because you can see I've still got the dog ears and stuff on them. Trim them up to size, and then I also have the coordinate print. One of the days I was out, I had my mom buy the rest of this off the bolt, and so I'm gonna figure out how many squares I need out of this, put all these together, come up with the layout. I have to check my pattern. I'll drop a picture of it once I find it, and then we'll get to work. So in this video, we're gonna do the whole rest of the thing start to finish, because it's already partially started. So I'm gonna make the quilt top, I'm gonna get it all together, we're gonna quilt it and bind it and all the things in this one video. So let's get to work. So just checking in with a post-cutting update before I go to finalize my pattern. I've got all my 88 squares cut, nice and trimmed up to size. And so there are two different patterns that are included in this to kind of be a secondary pattern to use your scraps. And so the first one is just a simple, you leave these as they are and then just create some diagonals with them and some squares that fill in. The other one is you make some star blocks. So I was looking at the two, figuring out which one I was gonna have more cutting to do with. And I think the one that does look like a simpler pattern, just the squares and the diagonals, I would have to cut like 150 squares to go with these. And I don't think I wanna do that. So I'm gonna go with the star block. And so with these 88, it also helps utilize the most out of what I have left over. So 8 of these are used in one block, so 88 is an 8 number, and so I can get 11 blocks. And so I had two choices. There's a 10 block one, actually I had a couple choices. There's a 10 block, a 9 block, and I think a 12. And so I was trying to figure out how I could use all 11. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the 9 block version and then use my two leftover ones to block 10 and 11 on the back somehow and do like a secondary quilt. So that's my plan. I'm gonna start cutting out my background fabrics so then this can get all done. Now that I'm thinking about it, I might also tweak up my borders a little bit on it as well, but just know I'm aiming for 9 blocks, a little 9 3x3, and we'll see what happens. So what I've got now is these blocks all trimmed up, my brown pieces to go with it all cut as well. So I'm just gonna sew these together at random, not even paying attention to which of these colors are near each other, and then make them into blocks. So I'm gonna get to work and we'll come back and have 11 star blocks. So here's a look at all my 11 blocks, and what I'm realizing is going from my original Happy Stripes quilt to this one, the first one was a whole lot of color with a little bit of brown. This one's a whole lot of brown with a little bit of color. So originally I was thinking, oh, well, I could sash it with this color in here, but that's going to make it so brown. So I think what I'm going to do is put it on pause, go get some coordinating fabric, whether it's a Kona or hopefully a batik I can find that I like, and do some sashing in here, maybe do blue for here and some cornerstones here, or vice versa. I don't know, it just needs something colorful to frame it up before I put an outside border on, or maybe the outside two borders will be those colors. So, and then two of these are going to go on the back. They're not in a committed layout yet, but at least there's something. All right, this room is in construction mode right now, so we're going to go from this angle today, which works because we've got the blocks behind us. So when it came to doing the sashing for these, I had too much going on in my brain and too many choices I could make, and I wasn't sure where to start. So I went ahead and asked Instagram the great question of how to sash these, whether to do all green, all blue, blue with a green cornerstone, or green with a blue cornerstone, and let me show you the result. So once that got all situated, I had to figure out what shade of blue to do, whether to do light blue, medium blue, or dark blue. And with my sample block, I took that with me, and I also asked Instagram what they thought, and this was the result from there. And so when I took my block to work, I came up with this. So this is going to be the blue sashing in between, which works really well with some of these colors in here. And I think I got enough of it to even be the background, the backing of the quilt. So then with my 2 extra blocks, I'll have that to kind of surround it as well, and everything will match. So we're gonna go ahead and start cutting sashing. And then I think also for my border, I'm gonna go ahead and use this. The pattern itself shows that you just do the sashing in between and then do a single border on the outside. I think because there's so much brown going on and I'm still not sure how I feel about this, I'm gonna do the blue all the way around, so then it's gonna match. Blue's gonna come out here, and then go ahead and go with the brown for the outside border. So I'm gonna get cutting, and by the time I come back, we're gonna have a finished quilt top ready to quilt. So I have to pause from cutting because I've gained a speed bump in my fabric. You done? Blue sashing's all added. I've got my brown strips cut, and we're gonna go ahead and put it all together now. Quilt top's all done, and now I'm going to go ahead and finish up piecing the backing because that'll be a quick little piece up, and then we'll come back and be ready to quilt it. So now I've got my quilt back all done. It's got these two little stars 10 and 11 that didn't quite make it onto the front, right in the back, super cute. And so I'm going to get this all loaded, and then we'll come back and get quilting. Okay, so everything's all basted and loaded in. I've got all my measurements set, my pattern all loaded. So we're gonna do this cosmic cat like I did on a sample one when I first got my machine. So I think it's gonna be perfect with the cats with a little bit of stars in there to go with the star blocks. So let's get quilting. I'm excited to say that this Happy Stripes 2.0 quilt is complete. So I'm not gonna lie, you probably felt it at the beginning. I was a little scared with how brown this quilt was looking, but I think with all the blue sashing and now this super awesome looking binding, I think the blue really helps set it off and really makes it exciting. This quilt's gonna go to my cousin who just had her first baby, and so I'm excited to send it her way. I did the Cat Pantograph on there, if you can see him. Let's see if I can find one. Oh, there's one, he's upside down. So I did Cosmic Cat off of Urban Elements, and because they have 2 cats at home, it was a perfect matchup. And then the back, this pieced 2 little stars over here. Perfect little addition. So I'm excited. I can check this off of my taking up space list and feel like I cleaned something this way. So on to the next one. And now let's go take a look at some pictures of it before I put it in the mail.